Welcome back, dear listeners. Couldn't get enough of Connect More? Well, it's your lucky day. And mine, since I've got a couple questions to ask these cats. In this Connect More shorty, we'll connect some more? Whatever. Let's see what more these puds can possibly have to say.
Hey yo, welcome to a Connect More shorty. I'm Eric. There's John.
Greetings.
That's Brian.
Take me to your leader.
And that's Jason.
Hello, listeners.
In these bonus episodes, we take questions from our producer about anything. And this is basically the first time we've heard this question, so there's no prep. Madam Producer, what's your inquiry?
Would the puds survive a zombie apocalypse? If so, how?
So we've had a lot of experience about this, and we go back. This is what you don't remember: is we go back to the Night of the Living Dead and Dawn of the Dead, and we remember the slow zombies and the zombies that you could just put a stake in their forehead. And we have been thinking about how to kill the zombies for probably 45 years, and so we're way ahead of you. And you may think that it's about people clustering together that turn into zombies, but the truth is, you got to have a foolproof way to separate yourself from the zombies. And so step one in the zombie apocalypse is to bug out. So you've got to have a full tank of gas. You got to know what your route is going to be, and you got to head for the most remote place where you feel comfortable and know where you are. And for me, that's far northern Minnesota up toward the Canadian wilderness. And we can eat the fish up there and fish like the Chippewa did and survive for probably a long time without anybody finding us. Or if we do, there's just a few zombies there. The depictions. The two depictions that were most searing for us in adult, I'm going to speak for me in adulthood, were in The Walking Dead, when it was finally depicted on television, and they did a great job and had the right budget for that. And like the trip into Atlanta on The Walking Dead, or when you hadn't seen any of the zombie lore before, was just an outrageously terrifying experience, and it was really well done. And then the second one was the 28 Days Later series, and I have not seen the new one, so I'll come up front with that. I'll report back once I've had a chance to do that. But the notion of the rage virus with the fast moving zombies, and then they would do the way they filmed that, they would chop out every third frame. So it was coming at you at an impossible rate of speed. So I will say that Danny Boyle has invented a type of zombie that I have not figured out how to get away from. But if we are in the 70s versions or the Walking Dead version, I'm going to be fine. And I'm just going to note that all of the zombie apocalypse stories start with a virus. Eric, what do you got?
Jason, do you want to take this one, or I took the last one?
What do you mean?
Thanks, Cliffy.
Oh.
I gave you guys all kinds of stuff to tag off of. Tell me have you watched The Walking Dead? What did you think?
I just love the fact that you hadn't thought, like, we hadn't given you this question, and you had like 5 straight minutes, like bam, like loaded up, ready to go, like you were waiting for.
Do you guys not think about zombies? Do you
no.
If you're from where I'm from,
about this.
You have the same plan to get away from the zombies that you did when the nuclear plant was going critical, and you had less than 5 minutes to get yourself out of town. And so it's the same route, same process, same thoughts.
And I think about the zombies all the time. I love the George Romero movies and watch them all the time. I read the Max Brooks, Mel Brooks' son, Max Brooks, wrote a zombie apocalypse survival guide. I've read all that. I've got my plans. I've watched all the movies. I studied it all, Walking Dead, everything. First of all, though, I only subscribe to the George Romero zombies, right? Because the worst thing about that is it's a slow walking threat, but a threat that's there all the time, and it's looming. And when it's most dangerous, it's a horde, right? It's 5 or 10 or 15. So that's what catches you, and it catches you unaware if you're not paying attention to these things. So yes, absolutely. And so I'm going to, I've said this a long time, I just got to go up the road from where I'm at. I just got to get up to Swisher and get to my dad's girlfriend's place, because the basement's just full of preserved foods and everything that would keep us going for a long time. Nice big farm, decent sized farmhouse, kind of up. You can see everything. You can defend it easily, right? Yeah.
I'm still going with boat on a big lake. I've not seen a genre of zombie that can swim yet.
They don't swim, but I think it might have been Walking Dead and another other movie where they go to the bottom of the lake or
They
whatever.
walk on the
and if you
bottom.
get
They
too
walk on the
low-
bottom.
And they keep walking. Yeah.
Yeah.
they
No,
walk
I
on the
think that
bottom.
was in that spin-off of
No,
Walking Dead.
and what
where
they'll
they were
do,
off of
John,
California.
is they'll walk on the bottom, and then they'll start standing on top of each other until they get to your boat.
That's right.
So,
So then you're fucked.
two other references that we got to make sure we call out. World War Z was a fantastic film that depicted them doing that, essentially cooperating to do things like get over walls, which was terrifying, and moving quickly to do it. And the other one that Paco got to was Shaun of the Dead, which introduced some humor to it. And you got to get good with something other than a gun because you're going to run out of ammo. So you have got to figure out the sword, knife, machete, whatever it is you're going to rock. You have
I was just going to
this
say
is
that.
important. You have listen. If you guys don't get this figured out, they are going to pull your Gen X card. You have to pick which tool you're going to be using.
Absolutely, you run out of ammo. You got to have that stick with the poker, and you got to go for the brain. Everyone knows this, right? Also, I mean, I get to half a tank of gas, winter or summer, and that car's got to be filled up, right?
I've got 10 gallons in the garage at all times, and I will use it, purposely use it if I think it's getting old, put it in the car, and then replenish.
Has there been a feminist zombie movie yet where to kill the zombies you have to hit them in the nuts?
Not
So
yet.
I feel
Not
like Zombieland brought in a lot of feminist
Did they?
elements.
Okay.
I think Zombieland was probably your equal opportunity zombie survival.
Just there's so many. The zombie movies are filled with metaphors all the time. That seems like a perfect metaphor somehow for someone to pick up on.
I'm sure they're working on it as we speak.
Okay.
So it's okay with me when the metaphor is sort of mindless consumption or the the useless, purposeless bullshit jobs that people have and all of that. But with Walking Dead, I did feel like it slid into immigration a little bit, and I think it has taken that turn in the last 10 or 15 years, which it makes me really uncomfortable. It was good to see the way that the 28 years later thing was depicted, just a total destruction of society, because that is where all that goes. It's not as simple as you push back the hordes and everything's going to be fine.
Mm-hmm. And that's what those stories always are. Whatever that threat is in that decade, right, is what the zombies prepare or represent. Did you guys know though? There's a site on the CDC website for zombie pandemic preparedness. Did you know that? Have you seen this?
No.
We're going to have to put that in the on our Facebook somewhere for the pod. Seriously, I did not know that. I want to see
It
it.
survived Doge?
Well, they did this years ago, so I don't know if it's still up or not. But they did it to draw more interest to their website because, as John, thoroughly explained to us, the prepping is not much different than if you've got that nuclear power plant in your backyard, or if there's a derecho, or
Yeah, that's true.
Eric has answered how he would survive. I need Brian and Jax to tell me how they're going to survive this thing.
Well, I think we all have some type of trauma in our lives. Like, we grew up near the nuclear plant, right? But we also all saw what happened in 1993 here in Des Moines. We didn't have water. It was almost like that. We didn't have water for almost a couple months here in Des Moines.
Talk about that, Brian. The other three of us weren't here. I was in Marshalltown, Iowa, and I observed this all very closely.
So
but
I wasn't
showers.
here. I wasn't here, but I moved here in '95. But I came here. So I was in my Army Reserve unit here in Des Moines, and we didn't do any type of flood relief or anything like that. So, it was horrible. Just you couldn't go to the bathroom in a normal way. It was like people would probably just dug trenches in their backyard or whatever. It was just bad. Everything smelled. It was just horrible here. Yes. So I used to go to Mitchellville. And shower during those months. But but I'm just going to be serious here for a little bit. I mean, that's one reason besides for deer hunting, I got a crossbow. You can put whatever type of rod in there and shoot that crossbow, reload that sucker pretty easily. And off you go. And I'm a hunter anyway, so it's not a big deal for me to have a lot of rounds, a lot of different types of guns. I inherited my dad's collection, so I just grew up with that, and I still hunt today, so part of the reason why I got the crossbow was part of the zombie apocalypse. I'm not going to lie.
I think something that would be surprising to people who are not in our generation who are listening is that we're not preppers per se. That is a lifestyle. They have magazines, and they're, it's like a full on, like they discuss it all and make their purchases. But all of us have devoted a non-zero percentage of our thought time to what we would do in the event of a full breakdown of the society. And I don't know how prevalent that is. I don't think boomers do this at all.
No.
Maybe there's like one slice of like Fox News boomer that does this, but I feel like it's really prevalent with us.
So I have food that just add water to it. I have MREs that will last forever. I have all kinds of stuff, So it's almost like a go bag. I'm ready all I got to do is put together a go bag, and I'd be ready in 5-10 minutes out the door.
I got 5,000 watts in the garage, gas powered. I got 300 watts inside, solar powered. It's got its own little solar like parachute thingy that opens up.
But
just put that.
I'm not staying in town. I'm not staying in town. I'm getting the hell out.
But what you're talking about though is the way we were brought up. I mean, we talk about being latchkey kids and stuff. We had to come home to an empty house, and we had to feed ourselves. If we cut our finger with a knife, we had to figure that out. We're one of the kind of like our generation maybe is kind of the last generation where like the real concern of our cars breaking down at 10:30 at night between towns like that, I mean, cars are much more reliable now, and resources are much more reliable now. Like we always kind of had to maybe have these plan Bs in our head all the time when we did things. And I think that's what you're talking about. I mean, I don't own a generator. I'm not that crazy about it, but again, I'm very dead serious. I know where I'm going if something like this happens, right? That's the first place I'm going. So you have these plans in your head, and you know that you'll be able to do some of these things on your own, because we've had to actually kind of live that out a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah, the generator thing for me came out of the derecho experience, so that's what I was talking about when you raised that. We have these weather events that you might end up without power for 2-3 days, and so if you want to keep what's in your fridge or whatever,
and Cedar Rapids went without power for weeks.
In Clinton, we went without power for days and weeks after that as well.
Yeah, it was 145 mile an hour wind, and in my parents' neighborhood, they were just chopping up the trees themselves and then sitting outside by the generator in lawn chairs in the street at night and hanging out like it was 1880. And so it is. Look, the way we say it is, the 20th century can be revoked at any time.
Amen. We watch a lot of horror films this month. So it's like the classics, from the 80s and 90s, and you realize there's no cell phones. So the story's always, just like Eric was saying, the vehicle gets caught out in the middle of nowhere. Vehicles are much more reliable than they used to be. They don't have carburetors anymore. It's weird little things. And I always just sit there and go, God, a cell phone would be great. And, they always had to walk to the nearest gas station or whatever it may be. And, and we don't have that anymore. Now you can just get on a cell phone and go. And but we grew up with a life without that. So we know what to do. It's not a big deal.
My favorite innovation is the highway helper here, like it's running
Absolutely.
up and down the interstate, and it's helping people with their, tire or just whatever it is that they run out of gas or whatever it is. The guy's carrying gas around and stuff. I mean, we were never, there was unimaginable that a highway helper would arrive.
All right, folks, we hope you enjoyed this bonus Connect More. We hope this sparks some thought in you or a walk down memory lane that you share with folks around you, and they share the same with you. Guys, as usual, always fun hanging out with you and telling stories. And it's great to connect more with everyone. Closing credits, please.
Brains.
Thank you for listening to Connect More. I'm the producer. Please subscribe and like this podcast because it's my only chance of getting paid for this gig. Connect More is a product of Pan Tiger LLC and is hosted by Brian Danielson, Eric Van Lanker, Jason Nisus, and John Hedgecoff. Connect More is edited by me and Jocko. The showrunners are Jax, Hedge, and Weenus. Theme music written and recorded by Ryan Veeder. Cover art designed by Leon Golden. Musical director is Evil. Legal liaison is Brian. Lead writers are John and Eric. Runner-up writers are Jason and Captain Danielson. Publication coordinator is Jax. Special thanks to GVC, Aaron, Miss Roper, and Yoko. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure to follow Connect More on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.